When cinema reflects the prism of life and gives a panoramic view to those living around, it is said that cinema has come of its age. It is more so in the times of trial and turbulence that cinema appears to nurture hope, mirror the aspirations, positivity, creativity, and jubilation of the many. Children's cinema takes us to the next level. With children's films, we enter into an absolutely different world, a world that is amazingly full of fantasy and adventure. We all have grown up with Tom and Jerry films and series, Harry Potter series, Lord of the Rings series. A totally new world appears before us, a world which is so beautiful that it makes us forget the reality for the time being. Hello, everyone. I am Krishna Pandey, Assistant Professor, DME Media School, and your host for this session on children's cinema, a global perspective titled What India and the World Can Learn From and Contribute to Each Other in Children's Cinema. Before I introduce our guest, let me give you a brief on the festival. CIFFI 2020 second edition is the world's first 7-day hybrid international film festival organized by DME Media School, Delhi Metropolitan Education, Noida, and Deakin University, Melbourne, Australia. Starting from December 15, 2020 onwards, the festival has films screening simultaneously on the screen 2 of our CIFFI website. These films are like a bouquet as they represent 7 categories from 10 countries and 10 different languages. Not to miss the home country with films coming from 10 states and again in 10 different languages. Today, there are around 11 films being screened on the second screen of CIFFI website. So do tune into ciffi@dme.ac.in to watch some very interesting cinema like Blood Rainbow, FIR, Report Aa Gayi, and Open Sky. These are just few names. You can visit our website of CIFFI to get more details. I would also like to mention here that CIFFI 2020 also has an association from 12 partners, including our festival ambassador, Mr. Tingmanshu Dhulia, an Indian film dialogue writer, director, actor, screenwriter, producer, and casting director, more known for his films like Dil Se and Pan Singh Tomar. In fact, he won National Film Award for Best Feature Film for Pan Singh Tomar. Our festival partners are Cover Drive Production, Vigyan Prasar, CMS Vatavaran, We Care Film Festival, Delhi International Film Festival, Kids Cinema 2020. Our institutional partners are Adamas University, Kolkata, Indian Documentary Producers Association, Indian Academy of Shorts, New Delhi Film Production. We have the Pioneer and the Policy Times as our media partners. Now I invite Festival Director Dr. Amrish Saxena, Dean DME Media School, to address the session.
Uh, Thank you, Krishna Pandey. First of all, I would like to thank to my friend Mr. Praveen Nagda because he was the one who proposed and who became instrumental in conducting this session. And obviously, the whole festival is in a collaborative mode because I firmly believe that nothing is possible if you're are trying to do something alone. So you have to have like-minded people along, and you have to have the people like in the case of this film festival we are organizing. We have to have the people who have a passion for cinema, who have passion for films, and who want to disseminate information about meaningful cinema so that the viewers are also there. Viewers who understand cinema and who can appreciate and who can enjoy cinema. So that is our endeavor. This is our second year. And this year, since we are in a difficult time when we decided about organizing this film festival in August, we thought that by December the things will be all right. But then we initially planned to have in the hybrid mode, and we are trying to do few things on the physical mode, like we organized 2 days jury, which was completely in the physical mode because we thought sending the films to the film experts and getting them evaluated will not work the way we are conventionally we have been doing this. So we have done that. and we are making full use of the technology which is available, and that is how simultaneously two sessions are happening. One, the deliberations are happening. On another platform, the film screening is happening, and to the convenience of the viewers, we have organized the film screening in a manner that everybody gets a chance to watch the films. So we have made, like, if from morning 9:30 to 12:30 a set of films are being screened, the same set is being repeated from 1:30 to 4:30, so that if somebody is in a session but wants to watch a particular film, can do this in the afternoon session. And everything is being streamed directly on the YouTube and the Facebook. So we are trying to reach as many people as possible and to do in the best possible manner. And we are happy to even say that for this is the third day, and since the first day till date, the presence in any session has to be between 100 and 400 on Zoom. This is excluding of the people who are there on YouTube and Facebook. So that's the success. If more and more people are joining, they are participating, and they are enjoying. So there can be nothing better than this. I am really grateful to all those people who have taken pains to join from Greece, Canada, and South Africa. They are really the people who are passionate about the subject, passionate about the films, and particularly the children's films, because this subject of this today's session is children's cinema, and this is something which is normally believed, some such activity which is not in the mainstream of cinema. But then we are trying to incorporate in CIFFI 2020 all segments, right from films on disability, science films, children's films. So all segments we are trying to cater to the independent cinema and independent filmmakers, and also the students. We have done 4 sessions on students' work only, and just now the session concluded that was on the students' work in Deakin University, Melbourne. One session happened yesterday on fiction films. Today, another session happened just now on documentary film. And Deakin University, Australia has collaborated with us, and they are a big support. And Krishna ma'am, I will request you to also request Dr. Vikrant Kishore to be here for a minute, because he is the backbone actually of the whole film festival. Thank you.
Definitely. Definitely, sir. I now request Dr. Vikrant Kishore, our film festival director and course director, Film, Television and Animation School of Communications and Creative Arts, Deakin University, Melbourne, to address the session.
Vikrant, are you there? Uh, Perhaps he's not there. You can pull on. I mean, then
No,
whenever
he's
he
here.
joined
He's
later.
here. He's here.
Hello.
Krishna ma'am, you can move forward.
All right, sorry, I was logged out. So the admin just gave me the right to be here. Hello, and thanks to Amrishji. And welcome to all the panel members here. It's such a pleasure seeing you all here. And Deakin is quite proud to associated with CIFFI. This is the second year that Deakin University in Melbourne, we have partnered with Delhi Metropolitan Education. We have been organizing various events with DME over the last 3 years, since in fact 2018. And it has been quite a great success. Just to let you know that Deakin University is among the top 10 universities here in Australia. And we have the highest number of Indian students in our university. In fact, every year we get almost 5,000 Indian students to our university here in Melbourne. And of course, we have our campuses across Victoria, which is the state we are in. So, and it has been a very interesting kind of an experience of being here in the festival and sharing so many thoughts with the experts, students, and of course the staff members here. And we welcome all the panelists on behalf of Deakin and DME, and thank you all for joining us.
Thank you, Dr. Vikrant Kishore, and thank you, Amrish sir. Now, to take the discussion forward, we have a panel of experts. The session will be moderated by Mr. Praveen Nagda, Festival Director, Kids Cinema 2020. Mr. Praveen has been closely associated with many national and international events related to cinema for children, art and culture, such as 20th International Children's Film Festival India, 2nd National Children's Film Festival 2016, 19th ICFFI 2015 Hyderabad, Samanvay 2013, Parampara 2011, Smile International Film Festival for Children and Youth Delhi, to name the few. I welcome you, sir. Our panel of experts comprise of esteemed personalities from both cinema and literary world. We have Dr. Madhu Chopra. She is the co-founder of Purple Pebble Pictures, a production house with a vision to give platform to people aspiring for a career in films. Dr. Chopra's love and inclination for children films led her to make Pahuna in a Sikkimese language, for which she received rave accolades. Dr. Chopra is an elected member of Board of Directors of CIFEJ, International Center of Films for Children and Young People. Welcome, ma'am. Another eminent panelist that we have today is Mr. Vasilis C. Karmatsanis, President ASIFA, Hellenic Animation Association and Anima Syros International Animation Festival. Mr. Vasilis is an attorney at law and has served as counsel to the Greek Minister for Development and as a special advisor to the Greek Minister for Health. He is elected member of Board of Directors of CIFEJ, International Center of Films for Children and Young People. I welcome you too, Mr. Vasilis. We have Ms. Firdaus Bulbulia, Festival Director, Nelson Mandela Children's Film Festival, South Africa. She is an award-winning producer of 6 feature films and many documentaries and is currently producing a legacy project on former President Nelson Mandela called Mandela's Africa. As the chairperson of the Children and Broadcasting Foundation for Africa, she hosted the 5th World Summit on Media for Children in 2007 and produced several multimedia productions for radio and television. We have another esteemed guest, Ms. Pamela Bisson, founder of Lo Mache Club. She is new media arts artist and movie director based in Quebec. As a new media art artist, she blogs and creates content for the web in the name of Pammy Poppins. We also have Ms. Deepa Kiran, founder of Story Arts Foundation. She is a storyteller, educationalist, TEDx speaker, trainer, writer, independent research scholar, and festival organizer. Her unique style of multilingual oral storytelling is woven with instrumental and vocal music, chants, and dance, inspired by oral traditions of India. She has performed globally at numerous international festivals in Scotland, South Africa, Iran, etc. I welcome you all to this panel discussion. The session will be followed by question and answer. The viewers are requested to write their questions in the chat box. Now I invite Mr. Praveen to take the panel discussion forward.
Thank you so much, Krishna ji. Thank you so much, Amrish ji. Thank you so much, Vikrant ji, and everybody else, team members of CIFFI 2020. It's a wonderful occasion to have some global names with us over here who are experts in their domains, but I would not call experts. They are beyond them. You know, they are the real heroes for the children because they are so passionate. From Madhuji to Firdaus to Pamela to Vasilis to Deepaji, all of you have the kind of passion. Like Pamela, if you see her website, you will see the profiles and the pictures of the young age kids of, you know, so each of you have been so passionate about doing what you are doing. Madhuji has taken a task of, you know, doing things for children. The Sikkimese film, which has been made as a co-production with Children's Film Society India, it's been an award-winning film. Vasilis has been, you know, organizing one of the biggest animation festivals in the Europe, Anima Syros. Of course, he will take us through, you know, all those things. Now, the main idea that we were discussing, you know, why, if you look at, we have so many passionate people. Look at the culture in terms of children's cinema's culture. Globally, children's cinema is extremely evolved. And in India, in terms of the cinema, theatrical presence, etc., it is not as evolved as it could have been. Okay? We have talent, we have a lot of substance, we have a lot of material. In fact, I'll just throw you some numbers. Between 2004 and 17, there were 946 films produced by 35 countries in Europe. Almost 10 films every month they are making. But in India, we won't see, we'll probably see a Hollywood films, except some good work done by people like Dr. Chopra. Then we have Mr. Amol Gupte. Then we have some other people who have done a lot of, who have made some films. But there's a lot for us also to do. Now, on one hand, we have a lot of, wealth of the cultural heritage with us. We have the storytelling has been imbibed in our culture, whether it's a story, when the Jain families do as a katha after doing the prayers in the morning, or whether they are stories which are grannies tell to the kids while making them feel asleep. So there is and that's a generic part. And beyond that, if you really look at the cultural aspect, India is probably many Europes in terms of size of the geography and population, and there is a lot of diversity. The diversity also presents very interesting cultural aspects of storytelling. There are long traditions which carried forward. Interesting part is also that these traditions the narratives also changed. There's no fixed. Suppose you look at a Ramayana, the Ramayana of Valmiki is, it has a certain tone, certain messaging, certain kind of way to tell the story. Same thing will differ when you go to the South Indian Ramayana, and India has given a lot of flexibility to people in its culture to evolve and self grow and develop, and the narratives can change and with the and suits to the environment and the people, and it's all been a very constructive thing. Now today's discussion, I think we have a focus that what we can learn from the West, the globe, what we can contribute to them a lot from our side. I think that is what we will discuss. So maybe my first question would be to Vasilis, and I want to ask you, as globally the film culture for children's cinema is pretty evolved. Okay, what are the reasons according to you? What do you think? And then probably I'll move to Firdaus and Pamela. Pamela is doing some exceptional work with kids, for kids, by kids. So she will also talk to us about that work. But my first question to Vasilis, why do you think
please repeat?
Why do you think, what are the reasons for the children's film culture being highly evolved in Europe and the rest of the world?
Okay, hello to everyone, and thank you so much for the honoring invitation. I have more of an experience from the global and the European animation industry, which is strongly depicting a productivity that the European industry has. However, I also come from a low capacity, as we call it, European Union country, which means that we also, as Greece, face problems in production and in high value production and high quality productions addressing kids and young adults. However, I may say that the most important reason that European nations are investing in cinema as a whole and in kids cinema more specifically is, first of all, that our societies do have very constructed kids policies and youth policies in their curricula. So it means that it's a government goal, because we don't have so many kids. Like Greece has a very low birth rate, and most of European nations do have a much lower birth rate than the rest of the world. So we have to make them really skilled, really conscious citizens, and also very, very protected. If you see the TV landscape and the internet landscape from Europe, is maybe the most regulated and the most protected around the world. So it's a very important government and European Union policy to protect childhood as a whole, because they're the future European citizens, and also because they can be able through media to change their minds, and able through changing their minds to change the world.
Good. Well made point that we need to make them, skills, low birth rate, very scientific, angle. Pamela.
And build a youth citizenship in a way.
Yes.
The current
Thanks.
kids are future citizens. So it's so important to get these sponges, absorb the right ingredients, and extract it to the world in the future when they're leaders, when they're businessmen, when they're artists. So it's very important.
Absolutely. So it's not just nation building. We are talking about humanity building. That's the effort that we all are working towards.
Just bear in mind that in the European Union, we're 27 countries, that every single nation doesn't understand each other in the language. We all speak English. This is what we call the Euro English, which is not always understandable from the rest of the world, of course. So we are, with some of the European Union nations, we're culturally more distant than we are in India, with India or with South Africa in Greece. So just bear in mind that this kind of humane and global approach for us is an everyday routine, because like Denmark and Greece are totally opposites. We're much closer to Indian culturally. So, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Good to know that. Good to hear. Very interesting point you made. In fact, European culture is, Europe is pretty close to Indian culture, as diverse as India. India also, the kind of diversity we have is, our dialect changes every 11 kilometers. So the way people speak, the style and narration, it changes little bit, So, and after a few hundred kilometers, it's totally different language.
All European languages are based on ancient Sanskrit, Indo-European languages, actually.
Yeah. So my next question I will have for Pamela. Pamela is doing a lot of work with kids and for the kids. She has to go for radio show now. She will talk to us little bit about that also. And she gets children to create a lot of interesting content. What kind of challenges you face in your geography, when it comes to creating a content for children? If you can highlight that and talk a little bit, to us. Pamela, unmute, please.
Yes. Well, as I live in Quebec, which is in Canada, but a French-speaking province, for me, it's part of my motivation to create Francophone content, which the kids and children can relate to and be part of it. And I think for us, it's essential that the Children Film Festival Network is strong because we have not as much access to European children films or Indian films or any other countries, because we are so close to United States, and Hollywood films are dominating the market. And so for a Canadian, it's not so easy to produce children films, and it's a great challenge because there is no specific fund for children films. So if you want to make a children film, you'll be competing with any other producers who are targeting adults. So it's not every year that we'll have a great good cinema for children. So my motivation was also to create a nonprofit organization that would allow me to be creating with very, very low resources, but including children in what we're making, so that they get more critical about what they see from Hollywood or from English-speaking content, because we speak French and we have a specific culture, and I think that including children in the making is a part of making them active citizen, and not waiting before they're made like of age to vote. They're already in the making of the community they're being part of. I don't know if that answered the question, but I don't want to take too much time.
It's beautiful. I mean, the whole idea that children's filmmaking or children's content, everybody's so passionate about. They all want to make them good human beings, unlike many Bollywood films, which really don't aim that. They are just aim at entertainment. So coming to the next, I think I will get one eminent Indian personality here to talk, Dr. Madhu Chopra. Dr. Madhu Chopra is very passionate about children's cinema activity. She has made a Sikkimese film, Pahuna, which got many awards. I think I will request her to talk a little bit about her experience with Pahuna, and then she can tell us something about various Indian traditions and anything else about, that we can, from Indian perspective, how we can contribute. There's a lot the Europe and the United States of the world can learn from us in making their content rich and making it truly that what Vasilis and Pamela had said, that good human beings out of the children. Please.
Namaste, Parveen, and hello, all of you panel members. Nice to meet you again one more time. The question is so broad. I mean, I could speak pages over this. So I will just start with our experience of making the Sikkimese film called Pahuna. Pahuna means visitors. It's about relocation, how children have no say, no control over the incidents around them, and adults make decisions without consulting them, and they're just thrown into a situation that is not in their making or their liking, and how the children deal with it when they're separated from the adults, how they push the boundaries, how they create imaginations, how the imaginations help them live a life in a jungle, in a makeshift home created out of a ramshackle discarded bus, which happened to be sitting there for many years. It's a beautiful story. Now, Sikkim is situated in a Himalayan terrain, and we from Mumbai, the entire team from Mumbai, went to Sikkim. Unfamiliar terrain, unfamiliar language, but the government has a policy, like Vasilis says, to help promote cinema in the region, and they really supported us with all kind of admin assistance, with all kind of commissions, all of facilities like transport, and having liaison who would help us communicate with the locals, because locals do look at you with fear and apprehension. What are these Bombay people coming into our small little hamlet, peaceful countryside, and disturbing our peace here? But the local government really helped us there. Now, overcoming the language, overcoming the terrain, and getting the children. And the best part about our film was our talent was all Sikkimese. All our actors, the kids, everyone was Sikkimese, absolutely pure, untouched, never faced a camera kind of people. Yes, a couple of them were actors of local films, but not pretty well known. So these children were taken to by Mrs. Mehta, who's faculty at National School of Drama. She trained them for a bit, taught them how to face the camera, how to talk. And that brought such fantastic performances from the children. So the pre-prep was a lot more than actual work that went in. And of course, it was a breeze and turned out good. We won a lot of accolades for it. Now, what I feel that, like Parveen said, that India is a treasure trove of stories. Like Eric Miller, the writer, he has said that nowhere else can you find so many stories as you would in India if you go looking for it. And like he says, every region has different language, different stories. So the stories are in the form of katha, like he said. Katha is stories woven by communities, and it comes down the generations. Changes a bit, variations, but the story basically remains the same. The second is folklore, which is this hypothetical king and queen, phantoms and fairies, those kind of stories, once upon a time, those kind of stories. And of course, some diverse real life stories, which the modern day makers, modern day writers are spinning from real life events and turning them into beautifully presentable stories. Now, what can India offer you? And what can we take from you as the subject for today? I feel India has, like I said, a treasure trove of stories, especially children's world. We can offer so many stories. And yes, it would really help if we have collaborations from people who are technically more advanced, who have better facilities, to pull out these stories, bring out these stories. These stories are just waiting to be told, not in books or pictorials, but they're waiting to be told in this profound medium called the cinema. So we're just waiting for that. And if there's a good collaboration, and if there is, of course, there's some countries, we do have a collaboration with some countries already in place. And some of these regions offer subsidies. So everything brought in together, I think there is a lot of things that India can offer to the world, and India can take back from the world, imbibe and modernize technology-wise, and bring out a cinema that today's children want to see. Today's children want to, I mean, it gives them, it interests them, because the world is at their fingertips. They can see what they want, especially in India and more advanced countries. Unlike Greece and Europe, where it is more controlled, here the world is at the fingertips. So to end it, I would say that there is a lot that can be put together, and children's medium, children's film for young minds, build a better future citizen is so important. And I'm all for it. Thank you, Vasilis, for bringing that, hitting that point so hard. Thank you, Praveen.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Madhuji. In India, I mean, you made us a great point here now, which is perfect in today's context. When we talk of connected world, we talk of internet, we talk of mobile, linked everybody, instant communication, messaging, WhatsApp. This collaboration is the key. The right collaborator, knowledge sharing with each other, sharing of expertise with each other, creative content. I mean, how beautiful it would be if the little stories that we have in our remote villages are, being showcased in Greece and in South Africa and Canada and rest of the world, of course. Now, taking ahead from this thought, I want to touch upon a very interesting part. South Africa and India is so much related in terms of whenever we think of South Africa, we think of Gandhi, we think of Nelson Mandela. So I think we go to Firdaus now and talk to her about her experience of organizing this festival, Nelson Mandela Children's Film Festival. Gandhi and Mandela are very dear to us, and they will always be for the contribution to the mankind. Over to Firdaus. Let's hear from you.
Thank you, Praveen, and hello to everybody. Good to meet you today. I would say salam, which means peace, and I'm actually South African Indian, so I definitely have a connection with India. I think the first thing we must just remember, we have the Africa Charter on Children's Broadcasting, which says that children should hear, see, and express themselves, their languages, and their life's experiences through the electronic media that reaffirms their sense of self, community, and place. And I think if we hear what we're all talking about is how do we take something that is local and make it global? How do we, as professionals in the media sector for children in particular, actually take the children and put them first? Some people say, put the child in the center or put the child first. How do we, as CIFFI2020, which is the International Center of Films for Children and Young People, ensure that all of us as members of CIFFI2020 participate, support each other, collaborate with each other, so that the world, as we know, is becoming so much smaller and our children need to know each other. So I've been working in the sector since 1993. That was even before South Africa became independent. And part of our work was to draw up the South African Children's Charter. That means a child has a right to food, to a home, as it comes out of the UN Declaration on the Rights of the Child. And I think as we work in the sector, we need to understand the rights of children, so that with rights come responsibilities. And how are we as educators, as trainers, as professionals, as filmmakers, as film producers, as film festival directors, how do we ensure that as we educate, we entertain, and therefore we call it edutainment. And I think it is all of these different facets of what we bring together, either as producers of films for children, or partnerships with children, or festival directors. Of course, our relationship with India is a very strong one. In fact, we are just celebrating in South Africa the number of years that Indians have come to South Africa, landed on the shores here, and the diversity of Indians in South Africa. And it is that richness, that cultural heritage that really draws us to each other globally. And very exciting to see this partnership between India and Australia, almost worlds apart and yet coming together in such an important way. So for us, the Nelson Mandela Children's Film Festival was started in 2018 as we celebrated the centenary of Tata Madiba, 100 years of his life. And we wanted young people to understand what his legacy was. How do we ensure that children know this icon, as they should know the icon of Mahatma Gandhi, as we should know several other icons globally. But I also think what we mustn't lose sight of is that the fact in Europe, the Europeans, the Scandinavians in particular, have been producing wonderful content for children. Our Dutch friends produce amazing children's film festivals. The challenge for us in Africa is that we don't produce enough films, firstly. And secondly, I think we are lucky if we have one children's film in maybe a few years, not even in a year. And unfortunately, the same thing is in India. India, you are the biggest, you are Bollywood. And yet when we talk about children's films, you know that there is a huge gap. So how do we make sure, and especially through an organization like CIFFI, how do we make sure that we start building those bridges and producing more content, more children's films per se, but using the examples that are around us and the partnerships that are there. So thank you, Praveen, for inviting me to the session. If there's something that we can leave behind for everybody, is to know that there is a charter on children's broadcasting and that all of us who work in the sector become aware. And for our Australian friends, you know, the first summit on media for children was hosted in 1995 in Australia. It is there where the TV charter came out, the television charter for children. In Greece, they hosted the third World Summit on media for children. And we hosted in South Africa in 2007, the fifth World Summit on media for children, and managed to bring in people globally. So I think we're making the world smaller, we're coming together, and we're supporting each other to develop quality content for all of our children. Thank you.
Thank you for those. We are making the world smaller, but we are also making the world greater for kids. I think it's a great initiative. You talked about the partnership, supporting each other, collaboration. I think that's a great thing. That is the way to go. There is a lot of cultural exchange that can happen. And it is always a growing experience for children. Children have a habit of learning new things very easily. They pick up things very fast. So if there's a cross-cultural information sharing through cinema, there can be no other way, better way to educate them for their own growth personally, and in each way, in terms of their personality and in terms of their attitude and in terms of their growth and everything. Now we have had a lot of discussion around cinema. I think I must go to Deepa ji. She is a master storyteller. Not through the films, but she has got innovative ways of telling the stories. I think let me just come to her and ask her, how can we, tell us a little bit more about what you do and how we can use the traditional heritage of India to, enhance the storytelling culture and bring it to like global level, imbibe this into cinema somehow. And see how we can, take this ahead. Over to you.
So, बहुत shukriya, Praveen ji, and thanks to CIFFI, Deacon, DME. I'm delighted to be here and have been enjoying listening to all the panelists speak. I come here as a storyteller, but from a different medium, primarily oral narrations. And also as an educator, because I work with teachers, I also have been in the space of film appreciation. So gathering my experiences, traveling across the country and traveling to various other countries, primarily through oral storytelling, I'd like to share a few observations. Yeah, so way back in 2011, when I'd been to the Singapore International Storytelling Festival, I was really looking forward to listening to this French storyteller whom I admired much. I discovered there that he is actually of Norwegian origin, but is a French citizen. And here he was performing in Singapore. And the story he narrated was one of the stories from the Panchatantra, which is one of our best known literatures from the Indian storytelling traditions. So I was delighted that a Frenchman of Norwegian origin comes to Singapore and tells a story from India. So I went up to him and said, "Oh, it was lovely you told a story from our country." And I was also a little smug, that you didn't tell a Singaporean story, you didn't tell a French story, you didn't tell a Norwegian story, you told an Indian story. And then he said, "That's true, but you Indians are not telling your stories enough," which was a very valid point. And that's what I observed more and more, whether it was in my city or in the various provinces in my country, or what I observed of other countries. Here we were still doing Snow White and Seven Dwarfs and Cinderella and Harry Potter, while storytellers in UK and in America and other places were exploring Ramayana, Mahabharata, Katha Sarit Sagar, Panchatantra, so many other texts. That was really, a very interesting observation for me. It was also reassuring that as a storyteller who wanted to tell stories from my country, that, yeah, certainly there is scope. Maybe people here are not doing it. But things have changed today. We are in a better space in terms of exploring our own narratives. My reference is oral storytelling tradition. Okay, so in the oral storytelling tradition, we have people who are now exploring our own narratives more, and I'm very glad about that, because my experience has always reassured me. I would like to take 2 minutes to share a short story from India, which will, substantiate what the point that I'm making. So here's a little story for you. So this is inspired by Indian folk traditions. The story narration is going to be in English, but it's usually in the regional languages. But this is what I do. So just as an example of what the scope is. Come, listen, everybody. Just for you, I have a story. Sometimes nice and sometimes scary. Just for you, I have a story. So once upon a time, there was a beautiful jungle. And in the heart of the jungle was a lovely banyan tree. Every afternoon, all the animals would gather under the cool shade of the banyan tree and take some rest. And a little sparrow would hover over the banyan tree, singing in her soft little voice. Kuyu kuyu chillakuruvi kunjakuruvi na. Kuyu kuyu chillakuruvi. All the animals rested beautifully every afternoon. Once the sun came up, they went back to their homes. Once the sun went down, they went back to their homes. They lived like this in harmony for a very long time until one terrible day, when two creatures that walked on two legs came into the jungle, puffing something away, making a little bonfire, cooking something. And the two creatures that walked on two legs left the jungle, leaving behind the bonfire. Soon the wind picked up the fire, and there were flames all over. Flames on the skin, flames on the fur, flames on feathers, and animals, birds were going helter-skelter, help, help, save yourself. Everybody was rushing out of the jungle, everybody except the sparrow. And people said, "Sparrow, go save yourself. What are you doing hovering here?" And the sparrow said, "What about the banyan tree? How can we leave the banyan tree here?" The animals laughed. "Are you an idiot? How can we save the banyan tree from the fire? Just save yourself. But the sparrow's heart would not listen. So she went to the edge of the lake, dipped her small beak in the pond, came back, and dropped 2 drops of water on the banyan tree. She went all the way with her small wings, back and forth, dropping 2 drops of water, until all the animals started giggling at her. With 2 drops, you want to save the banyan? And even the banyan tree told her, go away, you cannot save me. I have to do what I can. And the sparrow continued. It was at that time that the creatures up in the heaven, the magical heavenly creatures, they saw the burning forest, the burning banyan, and the little sparrow going up and down, up and down. They were so touched that they began to cry. And when the creatures in heavens cry, what happens on earth? It rains. It rains. And so it rained on earth. The banyan tree was saved, and the entire forest was saved. And everyone sang and danced in joy. Mast hua re man kya bole man, mast hua re man kya bole. A story like this from India, from the Southeast Asian cultural ethos, is a story that I've often shared in places as varied as a library in the Highlands of Scotland, opera house in Graz in Austria, a municipality school in South Africa, an NGO for street children in Indonesia, a cultural center in Greece, and everywhere, whether it's children or adults, we find an audience that finds a resonance with a narrative like this, and also with a presentation like this. So what I have come to believe is that there is in the folk traditions, the oral folk traditions that we have here, there is an exhaustive spectrum of narratives. There is rich multiplicity and layering within our narratives. There are narratives which offer multiple perspectives of the same. And these really stand out in terms of what we could offer the world. And the fact that the content and the style is appealing to, is holding a universal appeal across language, across race, across age, across background, is in itself proof of the possibilities that lie in oral narratives in general, to start with. For example, what does a narrative really offer? It's like as Kiran Narayan tells in her book, Storytellers, Scoundrels and Saints, that stories offer us a long route to make meaning. Yes, so we experience through the characters and we eventually make meaning of our lives enough to be able to think critically, to be able to bring the empathy and the resilience, qualities that all of us require today, and qualities that are going to sail us through, I think, the journey of life with one another, with each other. So yeah, this is what I wanted to say. I also wanted to quickly mention about in Iran, I saw that this is being taken forward in a very beautiful hand in glove manner, because in Iran, where I was there for the Qanun International Festival, the oral traditional community of storytellers and the filmmaking community, especially those who make films for children, they are highly integrated and they collaborate all the time. In fact, some of the best filmmakers in Iran are, they started off as storytellers and they were popular storytellers in the country. So if we too could marry our storytelling traditions with the digital technology, I think we have immense scope, like the others were saying, to take it forward. On that note, I wanted to make one mention that the Children's Film Society of India had this project called Krish, Tish and Balti Boy, which really is the essence of what we're discussing, where they took up different folk narratives from different provinces, and they also took up the presentation styles of those particular narratives, because in India, every 100 kilometers, language, culture, custom, cuisine, everything changes. So they were able to pick up these various crafts and styles also and create a series. This, I think, is the possibilities that we have.
Thank you, Deepaji. Thank you so much for true living your style, oral storytelling. I think it was great. I'm sure all children like this all over the world. CFSI, what you had spoken about, it's indeed CFSI is an organization for decades. They have truly worked for the cause of children's cinema. In fact, they have a library of more than 250 films, if I'm not wrong, and some of the biggest film festivals for children CFSI had undertaken in last 4-5 years, 5-7 years, 2016, 17, 18, 19. So yeah, they are one government supported government organization which has really taken this cause to a large extent. But we still need a lot of private participation, a lot of industry participation, people from other walks of life, probably from Bollywood, non-Bollywood, industrialists. A lot of people need to come together, for this cause. I'll just share some numbers in Europe. In Europe, I'm quoting one study from Kid Regio. It's an organization which works for the cause of children's cinema and everything. They have a 10% participation on children films. 10% of the audience is only for children films. 6% odd. These are 2017 figures, but 6% all film production were children films. Pretty interesting. It's a huge number. Now, a lot of success in Europe is coming out of animation. So that's where now we'll catch Vasilis. He runs, as I said, Anima Sairos. We want to know a little more about how does he engage maximum stakeholders in creating the Anima Sairos festival, what all things he faces, and a little bit more to us on Anima Sairos festival. Vasilis, I think there's a net connectivity issue. We need to give him a minute. He's back. These are the technology issues sometimes we face. Maybe what we can do is we can speak to Pamela a little bit first before we go to Vasilis again. Pamela is going to be rushing to a radio show now, and please inform a little bit to us how you involve kids in creating those reports and the shows and the programs that you do at the club that you have founded. We would like to know a little bit more about that.
About what, the radio or the club?
Both.
Okay.
How do you involve kids? How do you involve children over there? Just tell us a little more about that.
Okay, so the club I started 5 years ago, and before it became an official nonprofit organization, I was working in a school and they had a radio. So I came up with this idea because working with the school was restricting in many ways, and I couldn't go with all the projects that I was thinking about. So I came up with this strategy of founding a nonprofit organization that would be apart from the school. But then working in the schools made me create a community of kids which wanted to do the things that I was the projects that I was offering to them. So that's how I managed to have a community of kids interested in my propositions of doing things with them. And so that started in 2015. And since then, we've been very active doing always partnership with other organizations like the aquarium, the museum, the commercial district. I don't know how to translate, but like the commercial street, they have like sort of an association who structures them in my city. So associating with private organization or cultural organization allowed me to come up with projects of making video reports, sometimes short films. And so then we started also to have a weekly radio show on Sunday night to talk and speak about everything that we do. So that way the kids integrate what they, not only in doing it after they talk about it. So it becomes the learning process is, I don't really believe in doing like in offering workshop. I believe in learning through action, and because that's the best way I learned in my life. I don't like being well, we're sitting a lot of the time behind the screen in the past year, but in normal days, I like to learn through things, through action. So I don't give, and I normally don't give any workshop about filmmaking. We come up with this, like working with the symphonic orchestra, we have to think about a short film that would be the theme of their family concert this year. One time it was Charlie Chaplin, the other year it was about a book, and we made a documentary about young children playing the violin, and the impact of the music on their development. So for me as an artist, it gives me the opportunity of doing like always very interesting project learning. I keep learning, like I'm in a continuous school of life, and the children that evolve with me since the beginnings, some of them started when they were 6-year-old and now they're 12, 11. I see them as my equal. I talk to them about the projects that I'm developing for them. They get interested, they give me their point of view, and then it nourishes the process. And I actually need them because they're my battery. They're they're motivating me to continue because of the challenges, the financial challenges. If I don't have access to them, I may be stopping. So even during the pandemic, I tried to get opportunities to surround myself with them. Last weekend, we did a little clip for a project with the symphonic orchestra. They're trying, because of the COVID, every project is like reinventing themselves, every organization. So the symphonic orchestra is not playing concert as much. So they came up with this project. They want to change the school bells with the musician of the orchestra. So they asked us, Le Machin Club, to create a video to promote the project. So if I want to do a video project at this time, it has to be outside because of the health issues. So we went into the snow and the cold weather last weekend to shoot this close to a schoolyard, and also close to a public art piece that is actually 9 school desk. It's a public art piece that just related to what we needed to shoot, because we can't film in school at this time because of the pandemic. So like taking the city, and I don't know, I try with the project to get the children appropriating their space, their environment, the organizations that also give them access to culture and artistic projects. So it's really working in, I don't know if that's a word in English, in synergies with others, and trying to collaborate so that the media reflects our community or society. So yeah, I'm gonna stop here because I can keep going and going, and when I have an audience. So then
No, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I can see an amazing passion in what you're doing. I mean, you're really changing lives of those kids. When you say that in 6 years, you know, when they started with you, after 6 years, you treat them as equals. I mean, it's a very strong statement. It's a very huge contribution to the lives of those children who have, you know, been associated with you. And I think all of us should look at a similar kind of approach. Everybody who is working towards, you know, this cause, we need to bring them about, grow them, help them grow, and, you know, mentor them, train them, and let
and they
them
will
lead
make
their
you grow as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, so now I go to Vasilis. As I was talking to you, we just missed, I think, the internet breakdown briefly. Now, the Europe, the growth in Europe, a lot of films is also because of animation. That's what the research report that I was going through. And you have been organizing the biggest animation festival out there. Tell us, how do you, you know, engage maximum stakeholders? How do you make sure that everybody who's associated with the event, how do you bring them together and make sure that they serve the goal that we want to, you know, deliver?
Dear Pravin, am I allowed to share a little bit my screen with a short video? Short video while I speak, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. So you'll see the video of this year's festival edition, which has been a COVID year. So you may see some things which may sound familiar to you during the current situation. Of course, they are very unlikely than the previous editions of the festival. Let me see something because I have to share the sound a little bit also. Can you see the video?
Yeah.
The festival has been hosted since years. You may see the partners here. It's been hosted since years on the island of Syros, which is the central island, the administrative center of the Cyclades Island complex. The festival is organized in one of the most touristic parts of Europe and of the Mediterranean. However, the whole scale of the island is imposing you a very low capacity because the total population of the island is 11,000 people and mostly senior citizens. However, it hosts a university department and full cultural and social services. My experience of bringing together different factors able to make a festival go worldwide and become lately one of the 20 most important festivals of animation around the world has no secret of success. We started because we had the vision to decentralize. We are both the two founders, myself and Maria Nestopoulou. We are based in Athens, lawyers, both of us, and we wanted to decentralize our activity through the means of culture and animation, since we were big animation lovers. And this has led us to the island of Syros. And in the beginning, it was not very easy to convince the local audience, and especially the young audience of the island and of Greece, about this thing. Slowly, we brought together diverse stimuli, not restricting, but focusing on the animation sector. Doing workshops, engaging the schools, organized school classes of the island. Can you see the island's views now?
Greece and around, and we will do.
Can you see the film or not?
To make the project improving during 3 or 4 days.
Okay. Okay. So we brought together the school structures of the island, the social structures of the island, dealing with people with disabilities and senior citizens. We paid, of course, special focus on the island's population, but we didn't restrict to that. So we brought together all the producers, the animation world of Greece. We attracted from the first year already many European animation professionals. Nowadays we attract animation professionals from around the world. We gave special focus on kids' activities, not restricting to the workshops as I said before, but also doing kids screenings, open air screenings, animation workshops and animation games around the year. And this has led us to attract the support not only from the state sector, meaning the ministries of culture and digital policy in Greece and the European Union, but also lots of private sponsors. And I think if you're persistent and you have a concept with a vision, not just restricting to the first or the second year or the next edition, but just to plan ahead 5 editions ahead. First of all, you have a concept that you can serve along the way, but second, you may inspire other people and funders and artists and the audience, not only adult audience, but of course the kids audience, to become fans of the festival. This has led us this year, as you may see on this video, to have an edition totally COVID safe, applying all the safety measures imposed by the Greek government, which were restricting only to outdoor screenings, not in standard outdoor cinemas, but in pop-up screening halls with special prerequisites. Of course, as you may see, wearing masks everywhere, taking temperature of every person exceeding the festival premises, restricting senior citizens or other health vulnerable participants this year from all the activities, and so on and so forth. So it led us to a digital edition this year, where, of course, we had like almost 50% less budget, but still, as you may see, we had all the public and private stakeholders who we had all these years in the festival editions, also being active in this very special COVID-affected year edition. So I believe, in essence, in order to build something for the young audience and for children, you have not to oversee the adults who decide about where they go and who do they entrust for their workshops or for their screenings for anything. And also to have a consistent approach in balancing the private and the public sector's participation in both funding as well as creative working as well as attending as audience the festival. It may run forever, you know, it's like another 2 minutes. Shall I leave it play or? Dear moderator.
It's my first time in Greece, so it's my first
Yeah,
time.
I think 2 minutes we can see. There's no problem.
Okay, I put the volume a little bit stronger so you can see a little bit more.
Animacilos, I heard about it really a long time ago because one of my professor, which I love, she talked about it and she told us about it. She was here a couple of years ago as a guest as well, and I heard many good things.
Είναι μεγάλη μας χαρά και μεγάλη μας τιμή που το Animaciros επέλεξε φέτος σαν τιμόμενη χώρα τη Τσεχική Δημοκρατία. Κυρίως μας τιμά επειδή φέτος γιορτάζουμε και τα 100 χρόνια από την επίσημη ανάπτυξη των ελληνοτσεχικών διπλωματικών σχέσεων.
Το θέμα του φετινού εργαστηρίου στο Animaciros 13 έχει να κάνει με το συνδυασμό 2 τεχνών, της καλλιγραφίας και του κινούμενου σχεδίου.
Στο φετινό εργαστήρι κινούμενη καλλιγραφία κάνουμε την τεχνική stop motion animation. Θα χρησιμοποιήσουμε χαρτάκια, θα γράψουμε επάνω καλλιγραφικά και θα γυρίσουμε να τα φωτογραφίσουμε σε όλη τη Σύρο.
Το θέμα του φετινού εργαστηρίου είναι το ζωοτρόπιο. Δουλεύουμε με παιδιά από 9 μέχρι 12 και θα φτιάξουμε φιγούρες που θα κινηθούν πάνω σε αυτή την ωραία τούρτα.
Μου άρεσε πολύ φέτος το φεστιβάλ. Μου άρεσε που διευρύνθηκε, που είδαμε προβολές σε παραλίες, σε ανοιχτούς χώρους. Μου άρεσε που αισθάνθηκα ότι όλο το νησί έχει σημεία διάφορα στην πόλη να δει διάφορες προβολές. Αυτό μου άρεσε πολύ. Και επίσης προσωπικά ευχαριστήθηκα ότι μπορούσα να δω πράγματα τα οποία κανονικά δεν θα μπορούσα αν ήμουν παρούσα μόνο σε μια προβολή και να τα δω και online.
Ευχαριστώ το Θεό των Κυκλάδων, δεν υπάρχει αυτό που ζούμε. Είναι πάλι καλοκαίρι.
Καλησπέρα σας κυρίες και κύριοι. Άλλο ένα φεστιβάλ Άνιμα Σύρος φτάνει σιγά σιγά στο τέλος του.
Άνθρωποι μονάχοι, σαν ξερόκλαδα σπασμένα, σαν ξοκλήσια ρημωμένα, ξεχασμένα.
So it was a combination of a physical and a digital version. Of course, the courageous part was the physical version based on the restrictions we had from the government. I hope I gave you a little bit of a taste of how we attract stakeholding in hosting a festival that it's been running since 2008. And it evolved into the largest animation event, attracting lots of kids' interest in Greece and one of the largest in Europe.
Thank you, Vasilis. Thank you for this. Now, I would like to go to Firdaus. Tell us something about how you work with governments over there.
Hi, so I am on the film, we have a film summit and a film reference group for the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, and I sit on that body. Also, we have the Film and Publications Board, which is a very important body that looks at content and quality content across the bar, not just for children. And what's in some countries, they probably would call it a kind of censorship board. But it's an important space post-democracy. So kind of after 1994, as you know, South Africa only became independent in 94. So the democracy around particularly film, media, broadcasting are so important. In the way that we work, we also have the National Film and Video Foundation, which is directly part of the Department of Arts and Culture. And they have a budget, especially for content to produce films across the board, again, not just for children. And I think part of the challenge for us when we started the Nelson Mandela Children's Film Festival was because we wanted to put children's films uppermost in terms of government. Our work in the area of children and youth media, as I said, dates back to 1992-93. So I'm quite, you know, when people see me, they already say, oh, children, children, children. And whether it's children's media or children's, you know, taking care of children, it's a mantra that they are familiar with because they know that's what I would talk about quite a bit. So I think the possibility to work with government is always there and is always important, and that we have the right instruments in place now, the different ministries that look and take care of children. The other thing, though, of course, is that you have to remind governments that children's media rights are as important as their right to a name, a home, you know, the other UN declaration on the rights for children. And sometimes governments don't see that as a right. We also have to shift in terms of how film and media are integral and integrated and really part of how we ensure that all children have rights around media. I think the reality in South Africa and in most of the African continent is that children do not enjoy the rights that they should and that they may in other countries. But as we know, you know, in terms of Asia and Africa, probably Latin America as well, the populations are large. We have a very large youth population, unlike Europe, where they are declining in population, we are actually exploding. So the, you know, 15 years and under is a large population in our parts of the world. So you have to work with governments and you have to actually educate governments to understand why children and youth should be at the forefront. Thanks.
Thank you for those. We are running towards the closing time. Actually, it's already 4 o'clock, but I think I would like to ask one question to Dr. Madhu Chopra. I think we talked to everybody a lot about the international scenario, Indian culture, richness of culture, and all those things. Now, let's ask what all things the international film fraternity can do for us, which can benefit them and the whole world actually through Indian traditions and cultures and the storytelling aspects that we have been living for centuries and centuries. Madhuji, you unmute the mic, please.
Yeah. As Indians, we have such a long backstory that we are unwilling to change, unwilling to adapt, unwilling to adopt other means, other modes of storytelling. This is what I feel what Indians can imbibe from the West or from the better filmmakers or the larger filmmakers is how to evolve. Times have to change, evolution has to happen, we have to move ahead for our children to find our stories interesting. Yes, we do have a lot to offer, but I think there's a lot more that we can take from them. Like Vasilis was describing, Pamela was describing, the sky is the limit. We need to have our eyes and ears open. We need our children to get opportunities to see their work and appreciate. And we as grown-ups, we must bring it all together and give it to them. So I think what we need seriously is more collaborations, more open interaction where we can involve our children with their events and propagate a more modern way of telling our story. Like Deepa was saying, that's such a basic method of telling the story. And she's carrying our culture, our dance, our music, our instruments. It's such a beautiful form amalgamation that she has done as a storytelling. But I'm speaking from the cinema point of view, where technicality has changed so much. The sounds have changed so much. Equipments have changed so much. Mostly now CG has, and this artificial means have become so important now. We have to amalgamate all that and seem like keeping abreast with modern times. This is what India needs, and this is what we would love to get from all of you, your countries.
Great, that's a great perspective. I mean, using technology and the advances to the benefit of the world and collaborate again. I think collaboration is the key. With this note, I think
evolution and collaboration, change
yes,
has to happen.
Absolutely, absolutely. You're right. Very valid point. Valid point. Now, I think I should now pass on the mic, the forum to DME, Ambrish ji, and team. And thank you, everybody, all of you, Madhuji, Firdaus, Pamela, Vasilis, Deepaji, for sparing your time. Madhuji is in fact in London. Ambrish ji, she's right now, so it's early morning for her.
Oh, yeah.
Not that early now, it's like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Really
So
good time.
So myself and Deepaji are from India, but rest everybody is from abroad right now in a way.
And I was checking the time. I mean, in Canada, this is early morning. So
yes.
it is really it would have been difficult for Pamela to join at such a time in the morning. So
that's the passion. That's what I said.
Yeah,
the passion. Everybody is so passionate about the cause. When I talked to everybody, it was the first moment they all agreed to come and say, "Yeah, we will be there," and I'm truly grateful to all of them. And I think it's a great beginning to have them with us. Hopefully, in the coming days, we'll do more such things where we'll utilize their expertise in this domain and see what we can build for our children in the future. Please.
In fact, these are the ways that we can try to do some change. I mean, to whatever extent the change comes, we all do not know. But if we make some effort, some concerted effort, some joint efforts, definitely some improvement we can hope to see.
I think, Amrish ji, where there is a will, there's a way. You
Yeah.
have the platform, you have the forum, you have the ability. All you need is to reach out. You have the
Exactly.
audience, you have the students.
Exactly.
Just reach out and make it possible.
Yeah,
You have it all
definitely,
with you.
definitely. Thank you, thank you. So it's over to Krishna ma'am.
Sir, Pamela has just left a message also that she has given a link of a YouTube site where we can, if people are interested, they can reach there and to see more about what Pamela has been doing as far as the children's films are concerned. I don't see questions here, but so if you permit, then in fact, Firdaus has also given a link, and she's also talking about hashtag Wazi animations.
Yeah.
And
I will forward you
yeah,
some.
she's
I
also
will
given a
forward
link,
you.
hashtag Wazi animations. So
Krishna ji,
I request all the participants and all the audience.
Krishna Pandey ji, Praveen ji is saying something.
Krishna ji, I will forward you some trailers of links of Pahuna, the Sikkimese film. It's very interesting. I think when you share the other details, you share that also. For some reason, I was not able to download it over here today, and we did not take the YouTube link because that would have created problem for our feed. So, but I'll share those links with you. Please do circulate to all the audiences. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, Mr. Praveen. Sir, if you permit, then I would like to thank the audience and the participants. Indeed, it was a very interesting session, and I hope everybody must have had his or her share of learning today. At least I got to know a lot of things about children's cinema, and I feel that yes, what Deepa said, that we need to learn a lot from our own tradition and culture, and instead of borrowing from the West, I think it is us who should be giving more information and more stories to the West. However, everything, when it starts, it has to reach its conclusion. So no words of thanks or gratitude can be complete without mentioning the efforts put in by the people associated with CIFFI 2020, including festival directors Dr. Amrish Saxena and Dr. Vikrant Kishore. I cannot end the session without extending my gratitude to our partners, our jury members, and my heartfelt thanks to the core team, especially Sumantra sir and Ritvik Ghosh, who have worked day and night to make CIFFI 2020 a great success.
Krishna Pandey,
I wish to thank students team who have been diligently working behind scene to see to it that the festival is glitch free. Now I invite Festival Associate Director Dr. Sushmita
Krishna
Bala.
Pandey ji, Dr. Sushmita Bala is also there, I believe.
Yes, sir. I'm just inviting her. Now I invite Festival Associate Director Dr. Sushmita Bala, Head DME Media School, to sum up the session. Ma'am, are you there?
Yeah, yes. Yes, thank you, Krishna ma'am. Thank you, Mr. Praveen Nagda, for organizing such a wonderful session for CIFFI 2020. And I'm very obliged and thankful to Vasilis, Firdaus, Pamela, Madhu Chopra, and Deepa Kiran, sparing their precious time and sharing their thoughts with us. Kids Cinema, we can say organizing kids film festival for kids is very, very memorizing, I think. Our joint efforts will hopefully enrich cinema. This is and should be the most interesting area for all films lovers. We have lots of stories for children's, not only fairy story, Raja Rani ki kahani, Panchtantra stories, but other stories also, like Deepa told us, and act storytelling style that was very nice. Children Film Festival is very important for all of us. Thank you all for contributing to such a lively session. Thank you, Praveen ji. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bala ma'am. It's always pleasure to hear you. In the end, please don't forget to visit our CIFFI pages on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And also, please do tune in to CIFFI@dme.ac.in to watch all the exotic cinema lined up tomorrow from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30. And there would be a repeat screening from 1 p.m. onwards. For those who miss it in the morning, they can go back at 1 and watch all those cinemas. Also, viewers, not to miss the Sunday's curated session on Bombay Talkies and the Australia-India Connection segment 2. The session will be again moderated by Dr. Vikrant Kishore from Deakin University, Melbourne. And he will be joined by Mr. Peter Dees and Mr. Paul Dees. These are two grandsons of legendary Himanshu Rai. And also three very legendary films would be showcased: Achut Kanya, Kismat, and Mahal. You can watch all those films. The links are shared in the chat box. Also, to inform everyone here that we will have some interesting sessions lined up for tomorrow also. Please do not miss curated session 2, which is at 9:30 a.m. This is making media and engaging with the industry, screening of a selection of films from Deakin FTVA academics. And this will be followed by screening of movies produced by Deakin staff members. So before I say thank you to all, I again request Ambrish sir to give his final remarks of the day.
No, no final remarks. I think everybody has been said and done. So I think we should wind up the session with thanks to everybody.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, Praveen sir. Thank you so much, Firdaus ma'am. Thank you, everybody. It has been a really interesting session and a lot of learning and a lot of interesting insights. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.